Good morning. Had a little problem there with my internet connection, so hopefully it stays on okay. I'll just wait a wee minute and see if anybody jumps on the live. Let me adjust my sleeve there. Morning. Hi, Kirsty. We'll just see if anybody else joins us. I've got my cup of coffee. And it's a wee bit cooler today, actually. Oh, thank you. It's not actually finished. Look, we've got a bare sleeve. A bare arm with no sleeve, but I'm just wearing it because I wanted to show you something about the sleeves. So, yeah. I need to finish the other sleeve. Well, I think I'll just get started. Actually, I made these this morning. I got up really early and made some blondies. So they're like brownies, but they are made of white chocolate instead of milk chocolate or dark chocolate. And I should probably explain that these little series of videos are called Knits and Cake for Breakfast because before the coronavirus lockdown, I was hosting two weekly knit nights on a Wednesday, an early session and a late one, and I would always bake, and then there'd be leftover cake and I would have a bit for my breakfast on a Thursday morning. So trying to keep the habit up of baking because it's nice to have something in the house. So Kirsty, the recipe for the blondie, so you do it with white chocolate and then it's got pecan nuts in it. So it's from this book, which I know will be back to front, but the Hummingbird Bakery cookbook, which I think I've talked about before, and it always makes loads. The recipes are massive, but the blondie recipe doesn't make loads. It makes quite an eatable amount. So that's the picture in the book. And it's really easy. You just melt the butter and the white chocolate, and then you basically add all the other ingredients. But every time I've made it, it always looks really split. So as soon as you add the sugar to the butter and the white chocolate, it all kind of splits and goes a bit lumpy. But if you just keep going, it sorts itself out and it tastes really nice. It's very sweet because it's got sugar, and then I guess the white chocolate's got loads of sugar in it too. But yeah, and they don't rise very much. You use plain flour, and then it doesn't have any other rising agents in it. So I might try them with self-raising flour next time and see. Anyway, so hopefully they'll probably get eaten up really quickly. My kids will probably devour them. So anyway, that's what I've been making this week. And I'll share with you my knitting that I've been working on, and also I want to talk about sleeves because you might have noticed I have one sleeve only at the moment, which I'll explain in a minute. So I've been working on this hat, which is called Skew Lines, and it was in Knit Now. This is just a photocopy. A printout of the proof that they send me. It was in Knit Now magazine last year, I think November time. So that's the original sample. So it's got these welts. So it's like a little fold in the fabric. It makes a really interesting texture. And it's slightly tapered at the top. So that's the original sample, and then this is a second one that I made with some yarn from the Wool Kitchen. So that one was made with Signet yarns, superwash merino, I think, which is really nice. It's nice and soft. And this is some leftover Wool Kitchen double knit. So I did this one, I did the brim the same colour as the main body. And that's what I've done with this sample. So I'm going to publish this like a self-published pattern. But I wanted to make a new sample. But actually looking at it there, the inside is quite interesting too, isn't it? the wrong side is quite nice. So this yarn is from Third Vault Yarns. So I've got the purple, the dark purple is called Morta, and this sort of pale pinky colour is called Ray. So that's it caked. And I'm reckoning that I'll be able to do one hat this way round and one hat like with the colours reversed. And I also think that I might do a version where you don't do this decreasing at the top, so it just goes straight up. We'll see what that's like when I'm finished. And I'm also trying out something different for the sides. At the moment the original pattern had this garter stitch, which is fine, but I think I might try and work out something else for the sides. Sometimes when you're doing a pattern for a knitting magazine, because you have quite a tight deadline, you don't always have quite as much time as you maybe would like to investigate different options. But you know, a deadline means you get it done, because I can be quite bad for just endlessly swatching, to be so perfectionist that it takes me forever to do something, whereas sometimes I think done is better than perfect. It's a hard balance. So I'm trying with this one to experiment with something different at the sides. So this one's actually got the welt pattern all the way around. And it's looking a bit squashed up, but I think when it blocks it will open out a bit more and you'll get the nice motifs. So that's what I've been working on this week, but I have to the welts on this one are 5 stitches, so I'm doing that thing where I'm counting along in 5s and I keep losing track, and then I have to count. What I should maybe do is put a few more stitch markers in, but yeah, I was knitting on this when I was doing my virtual knit night last night, and I kept losing track and having to tink back, but it's fine. So that's the main thing I've been working on this week. I also, at the weekend there, had a nice delivery of yarn from Leona of Rusty Ferret, and it's the Winter Lights shawl kits. So I had them up in my folksy shop just as a pre-order, but I actually asked Leona, I ordered a few extra sets from her because I thought it would be nice to have some in stock. So you get the 3 mini skeins and the full skeins, and I've got three kits. It's very tempting just to keep them because the minis are so cute, and they're in a fade, so that's the way they go. So I've put them up in the folksy shop, and obviously I've got them in stock now, so I'll be able to send them out to you. And that's to make the Winter Lights shawl, so that you've got the fading blues as you go into the middle. It's a big triangular shawl. So it's always nice to get parcels of yarn in the post, even if they're not really for you, they're for your shop. But and these envelopes are lovely and crunchy. I love the noise that they make. And then obviously I've also been working on this second sample of my Coraline sweater, which the pattern, it was in Knit Now last spring, but I've been working it up to release it as a self-published pattern, and I wanted to knit another sample basically, so that's what I've been doing. So it's knitted in, this is Rowan yarn, it's called Moordale, so it's a mixture of wool and alpaca, and it's got lovely drape and nice stitch definition for the yoke. And I've been knitting the sleeve, so I don't know if you can see all my stitch markers to help me keep track basically of all my decreases. But I have got quite long arms, I'm quite tall, so, and I also have quite broad shoulders, I've discovered. It's amazing what you discover about your body as a knitter. You discover like the quirks of your body because you have to adjust patterns to make them fit. So I've discovered that I have broad shoulders and long arms. So even if I just measure my arm and I knit the sleeve to that length, sometimes it's not actually long enough, because I think if you've got broad shoulders, it pushes the sleeve up your arm, because you're starting, the shoulder's starting further out than perhaps the standard measurement is. So I've added extra rows, but what I find happens is if I just add them at the end, if I knit the pattern, the sleeve as it is in the pattern, then if I just add extra rows on the end, sometimes I can end up with the cuff, which is supposed to finish like here, and it's far too narrow because that's not my wrist is here. So I have to add in extra rows throughout the sleeve to make the proportions of the sleeve the same, which is the same as what you would need to do if you had to shorten the sleeve. If you had shorter arms than the standard measurement, you would need to make the sleeves shorter. Hannah, what are you saying? Oh, you've got broad shoulders too. So yes, high five for the broad shoulders. But I do find that even if I measure and I knit the sleeve to that length, it still is too short because my shoulder sticks out further. So so the sleeve is like not starting at the same point, if that makes sense. Yes, so I've written a blog post this week about how to work out how to shorten or lengthen a sleeve, basically by adding in extra rows throughout the length of the sleeve so that the proportions remain as the design intended. And one of the things that's a good idea to do is, for a top-down sweater, this is why I like top-down, because I can check it as I go, is to do the body and then block it so that it's in its final kind of fit, and then measure. I've worked a bit on this sleeve, but put it on and then using the schematic from the pattern, measure your arm from where the underarm of the sweater stops here, because you can see here that's where the sleeve starts, but my underarm is here. So that's quite a big difference. And, in a design, in a pattern, it should take into account for that. But you need to make sure that you've blocked it so that that underarm point of the sweater is hitting in the place where it's going to finish once you're done. And then measure the sleeve from there using the measurement in the schematic. And then you can work out how much longer or shorter you will need the sleeve to be. And then you can add in or take away rows or rounds as you need to. And over in the blog, there's a bit of maths involved, but I've written it out to help, because I know that some people find that a bit scary, doing a bit of maths. So that's over there on the blog. So it's for top-down sweaters. And that's why I love top-down, because I know that I have to make the sleeves longer, and I find it easier because you don't always know where the sleeve is going to hit you, especially if it's a garment with positive ease. You don't know if the sweater's underarm is going to be here, or it's going to be right up in your armpit, or down here. So it helps if you've blocked the body and then measure, then you can work it out. So I was going to say something else then and I've lost my train of thought. So that's over on the blog. And I think next week I'm going to write a blog post about how to change the shape of a sleeve if you don't like it in the pattern as it's written. Because quite a lot of sleeves at the moment seem to have like a ballooning at the end, like a wide sleeve. So you might want to change that, or you might want to add adapt the sleeve to make it a wide sleeve and then, you know, come in narrow at the cuff. So I think next week I'm going to write a blog post about that. And even though I have finished this sleeve, I'm actually not sure that that is going to be long enough. By the time you start moving about, I find that a sleeve works its way up, and you see it's already coming down. But maybe when I block it, it will. It's always a bit of a give and take, I think, with the sleeve. Usually it needs a bit of adjusting even after you've finished, or sometimes you just can't be bothered, can you? It's just like, that's it, done. Okay, the sleeves are a wee bit short, but I'm not going to sit down and take it out. Oh, Sally is saying that would be good about sleeve shapes. Yeah, I think it's something that's not so difficult to adjust, and there's a brilliant website that I will link to in next week's blog post, which tells you, if you put in the number of stitches you've got here and the number of stitches here and the length of the sleeve that you want, you type those numbers in, you press return, and it tells you exactly what decreases to do. It's a brilliant website, so I will link to that. It's perfect for if you want to change the sleeve, and obviously it only works for, you'd have to do it for you as an individual. It doesn't work so well for when you're writing a pattern with lots of different sizes. So oh, hi, there's lots of people just joining. Yeah, this is called Coraline, and it's going to be released at the end of September. The best way to find out about it is to join my mailing list, because I also give subscribers discounts off newly released patterns. It's knitted in double knit yarn, and this is Rowan Moordale, which is a blend of wool and alpaca. The pattern really needs something that's got nice drape to help it hang. So I think that's me for this morning. I am going to let you get on with your Thursday, but I'll be here next Thursday morning, and you could look out for that blog post next week about sleeve shapes, or this week's one, which is about lengthening and shortening the sleeves. Oh, Sally, reverse, no, it's garter stitch. It's a garter stitch background. Yeah, with like slip stitch cables. Okay, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye.